Okay, there are many ways to teach a classroom, and the way we're going to talk about today is the flipped classroom. So, what is a flipped classroom? First, the teacher presents the concept, material, what have you to the students using a video or presentation. Some teachers even assign readings to do, so the student can do the reading, video, at home, and then they come back the next day and just discuss what the reading or assignment was over, do activities, and this allows them to come to class with the knowledge first off, questions, observations, ideas on what they were assigned. And this form of learning is more of a sit down and listen, or is less sit down and listen than actually doing and learning. So they're getting hands-on experience, getting their feet wet, and just getting immersed in the applications. So some pros and cons of the flipped classroom. The first pro is kids who are absent are able to keep up in class. So the kids who had the flu or had a family emergency who weren't able to come to class are able to still get their work done in a timely manner instead of having to rely on that teacher-centered classroom. And another pro is difficult lessons can be watched more than once. So if the students, say, doesn't understand the structure of DNA, they can re-watch that how many ever times they want until they learn that concept. And if they still don't understand, they can bring the question back to the teacher the next day. Another pro is parents, TAs, or student support staff can watch these videos and stay up to date on what their child or student is learning. So a lot of times parents find that the information they learned when they were in school isn't the same as what their child is learning now, so it helps them to stay current with the information. Another pro is you can attach a Google spreadsheet or other online quizzes to check for comprehension. So this way you can make sure the students are actually watching your videos versus skimming through. And as previously stated, flipped classroom is more student-centered, so they get more attention, and it's not the students watching the teacher for 30 to 90 minutes a day, depending on how the period or block system is set up, and it benefits the student more. The cons: some teachers don't have the skill at making proper videos that are engaging, and I will say that this is my first screencast and my second flipped classroom, even though I haven't gotten in the classroom yet. So they're trying to get us experienced, and my skill is still needed. So I'm still trying to develop as a teacher. There's no direct feedback during the online lessons, so if the student has questions that they would like answered, then it's going to be difficult for them to say, hey, I need help with this. But as you'll learn, there's a lot of time for the student to do that afterwards. Another con is it will not work for every class or every lesson, because sometimes some things students learn are more hands-on. So chemistry experiments, dissections, stuff like that have to be done in a classroom versus reading or watching a video on how to form a sentence or anything else. Another con is computer or internet access. A lot of children come from homes where they either don't have a laptop or fail to have internet access, and they'll quickly fall behind. A way to defeat this is teachers can provide the student with a flash drive of the lesson, or some churches, organizations, and places like that actually offer free internet access to students trying to do homework who don't have internet at home, so that helps out. And another con is it's extra work for the teacher. You have to make these presentations and then upload them, and definitely make quizzes to make sure the students are actually watching the video so they're not coming to class with a blank slate. So, is your class ready? And major questions to ask yourself. So, what are you going to flip? Is it going to be a lesson or a unit, subject, maybe the entire class? You have to have a game plan on what you want to flip, how you're going to do it, how you're going to restructure this classroom. And it's advised that you just start with one lesson that you know students might have some prior knowledge of to get them used to that, and then slowly start integrating your flip or the screencasting flipped. So yeah. And what software will you use? There's multiple types of screencasting tools. The one I'm using now is Screenomatic, which I found the easiest to use. Or are you going to videotape yourself with your laptop, phone, iPad, what have you, and then upload it to YouTube? So there's many ways you can do a flipped classroom. So how are you going to get that to the students? Where are you going to put it? YouTube, there's SchoolTube, a lot of other tools, Edmodo, Screencast.com, or even Google Drive. And how are you going to check to see if the students are watching the videos? You can do the spreadsheet or Google form. After they watch the lesson a couple times, maybe do a short 5-question quiz to make sure they have it. And how are you going to explain this to parents? Because this is definitely a new way of learning, and the parents certainly haven't had this kind of experience in their previous classes, so it's going to take a lot to get parents on board. But once they see how the student is able to learn at home, and then that learning be reinforced in the classroom, their questions answered, because when you go home and work on problems, you're more likely to get confused without the teacher helping you or explaining things. So it's a nice twist to do homework in the classroom. And how are you going to reorganize class time? Because, yeah, they will do homework in the class, but what if they finish that homework? How are you going to continue to reinforce that lesson or unit? And that's all I have for you today. Those are the websites I used to make this video. Thank you.